Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm LJ.
And I'm Josh.
And we are here, folks, for not only your entertainment, but awful.
Well, might be a little awful, too.
Yeah. But we're here for your entertainment and for bringing information that you might have missed from the news you have.
Infotainment.
Infotainment. Is that used?
No, oh, yeah.
Yeah, is it? I was going to say shit. We should get that as a infotainment. You had a great chalkboard dialogue going of new words that can be coined. Like seriously. That. Was that a tequila night?
Last night, yeah. It was the last night of tequila night, right, yeah.
You know what? Tequila is enlightening.
Fuels the mind and the senses.
It's absolutely amazing how that affects you from an alcohol point of view. I almost said alcoholic point of view. As an alcoholic, I use that in the morning. No, I'm not admitting to anything, folks.
Right.
But the whole interesting part of tequila is it's not a depressant. It's a
stimulant, right?
Stimulant.
It's the only alcohol that's not.
Yeah, it's the only alcohol that we're allowed to have in America that's not.
Right.
So
I love tequila.
It is.
I love it. I don't know how the fuck we even got on that, but it's like, we had all sorts of shit to talk about.
Oh, yeah, we got...
Welcome to the show. We're just talking about, but like...
we're kind of continuing our conversation that we started with.
Right. We've been talking for 2 hours prior to.
You know, show prep oftentimes has to be us going through all these stories, kind of to find the ones that, as you would say, resonate with us.
There you go.
And so we've got some great ones. Super Bowl's coming up. Now it's been referred to as the Pot Bowl because we got Colorado and Washington. And folks, we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Touchdown, motherfuckers!
It's really interesting. Yet our good friend, not really, Justin Bieber got in trouble again. In trouble again because his private jet stopped to pick up a load of weed.
Well, that would do it.
But he's flying in Jersey.
Pulling over? Is they had to swing by Colorado to pick up some weed?
I don't know. It's ridiculous to think that, and who the hell did they tell? And was it like, we got a landing. We're running a little low on weed.
Right.
I mean, how the fuck do you tell the pilot? Or, I mean, maybe this is protocol. I don't know.
I think it's stupid we fucking have to talk about it at all. They should just fucking get over the weed thing. Look, I'm not fucking justifying Justin Bieber. Anyway.
That's a great one. That's a TV show.
Justifying Justin.
And it could have some cool 80s sitcom music to it. Everywhere you look, that kind of shit.
Right, totally. And Bob Saget, and then you're good to go.
Well, Bob Saget could talk about his asshole,
right.
and anyways, that guy. Speaking of Bob Saget, I just got to say, I had the opportunity to be in the same space as him one time, and he was yelling at his kids, and this was back early 2002, and he had his kids at Disneyland. And they weren't behaving the way that he thought they should be behaving. And he's like, God damn it. He's pointing his finger. He's down on his knees, yelling at his daughters, and in a fatherly way, not in a rude way.
Right.
And I walked by and I said, "Give him hell, Bob." And he's like, "Right on." And I was like, as a parent now, then I was like, wow, he's being a hard ass. I find myself oftentimes looking at my beautiful daughter and going, I can't believe you did that. What was that? And it's that same, you shouldn't be behaving like that. How old are you? It's that old saying, you realize you're your parent, but it's really, you realize that you're a parent like every other parent in the world.
Right.
And
that kids are a pain in the ass. Right?
Like, moral of the story is get clipped. Oh, God.
I'm just recovering. I just got cleared.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. I just sent a text to my friend the other day. I go, no sperm detected. Where are the white women at?
Oh, Jesus, that is funny. Oh, and you know what's great about that is when I did it, my first...
That line is from a movie, by the way. That didn't come from me. That's one of my favorite lines from Blazing Saddles.
But that was, I have it on Blu-ray. Is that silly? Blu-ray, it's that good.
So good.
That was beautiful timing, though. I mean, that was absolutely gorgeous.
Back to Bieber.
Back to Bieber. That was just perfect timing. Well, along with Bieber, besides he had to pull over to pick up some pot, they just announced that there was some white powder. This came out yesterday. White powder arrived at the hotels near MetLife Stadium where they're holding the Super Bowl this year. Seahawks, Broncos in New Jersey.
Go Hawks. Woo!
Absolutely.
If you care.
Yeah, well, we are both of the age where we were alive when there were no Seahawks. They didn't come in until like 1976.
Oh, I don't know.
And I don't know that for sure. It's like 76, 78. It was.
I'm so not a sports guy.
You know what? I'm not a sports guy, but I have a sports person wife.
Yeah, I like watching.
I almost have a
competition.
sports guy wife. It's legal. And so, anyways, this white powder, I just think it got ahead of Justin Bieber. I think it got to the hotel before he did.
Yeah,
and white powder. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to have a little blow to go with your smoke.
Well,
right, and to swing by. See, that's what he should have done with the weed too, is have it sent ahead, and then he wouldn't have to stop his plane.
Yeah, you could put it in a birthday cake or something. So, anyways, absolutely crazy that our world is more concerned about Justin Bieber than what's actually happening on our planet, and that's kind of why
Justin Bieber's happening.
He's happening, but he's a 19-year-old little shit stain.
Yeah, well, there is that.
And I had a really rude something to say about him, but I won't because it could be heard as, and I don't censor myself often, but it could be seen as being very rude towards women, and I absolutely love women, so that I'm not going to say it that way. But Justin Bieber, from his parents and his dad calling him the best dad in the world because he shut down the roads in between the start and the go of his little racing,
right? The
Florida.
street racing or whatever. Right?
And I've never been to Florida. You lived there. I
loved it. I loved it down there. I had a blast. I love the weather. I love it's just crazy all the time.
And so, does Justin Bieber fit into that?
He probably would. Yeah, totally. Like he could easily be from Florida.
Yeah,
yeah. He fits the Florida mold nicely.
See, and that's
no diss to my Florida peeps. I love Florida. I had a blast there.
And I want to go. I want to go there and check it out because that's where I hear that all us Jews have to retire.
Yeah, that's what I hear too.
Isn't it written? And so it is so. And so,
I was listening to Joe Rogan. You hear me reference him a lot. I feel bad.
No, he's awesome. But he's an amazing man.
He had Roseanne on his show recently, and she was talking about. She was actually, kind of got Justin Bieber's back. She was kind of like, you don't know what it's like to be 19 and have a camera. Every time you take a shit, somebody wants to take a picture of it. You know what I mean? Like, you have no idea.
Take it and sell it on eBay.
Yeah, right. I couldn't even imagine. Could you fathom? I mean, I it's not even in my. I mean, I'm not by any way again justifying Justin, but you gotta cut the kid a little slack. Fuck.
I agree. I mean, I have no frame of reference. I mean, all that money. All that, no personal space. I mean, he's got like a 50,000 plus size house. So I mean, he's got himself it's a compound. But if you go out into the world and at 19, you want to see what's out there. You want to know you're not the only person like that. But he is told he is the only person like that, and that's what he's billed at. So I could see Roseanne's point of being, we don't know and understand because of what he has to deal with. I would appreciate. At
the same time, you don't have to be a douchebag.
Exactly.
You don't have to. That's a decision he's making.
Well, and there's a lot of amazing celebrities out there that we hear that do great things, and then we hear about the ones that are total douchebags. And who gets the most amount of press? The douchebags.
Well, right, because we love to hear about people going off the rails. That's just, that's.
Well, is it that sick little thing in our brains? Is the monkey brain in us or reptilian brain, whoever you listen to what they call it, that says, oh, this person's better or because they have more money or they're prettier, they can sing or whatever, and so we want to break them down. I really think for me, I find myself like, it's a jealousy though. I don't know it. I don't feel it like I feel jealous like if somebody's grabbed my wife's ass, but it's definitely there. So do you think that could be a little bit of it for all of us waiting to see the next celebrity tumble down?
No, I think it's fairly obvious. I know. I mean, it's like, nobody's talking about Lindsay Lohan being successful now and like
Like,
not
that's-
being and kicking her alcohol habit and shit. Everybody wanted to talk about her when she was flashing her panties and rolling around in the street. Like.
And you know what? I've been there. I've gotten drunk and fallen down on the street before. And if
And those are the funny stories. Those are the ones people remember, right?
But I'm not at the place where anybody really cares. I mean, there's a few people that would care to watch me fall
whoever
down.
watches,
Yeah.
it's gonna, leave a mark on whoever got to see it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, a crazy world we live in. Justin Bieber is the top story. We have Ukraine on fire, and I'm not even going to get into that, other than the fact that, holy shit, I feel bad for all the people that are dealing with the outbreak of just clashes between police and citizens.
See, I haven't heard about this at all. I'm totally out of the news loop.
I went on and I looked, and I just felt so fucking bad that they're dealing with that turmoil, because what does it do to the soul of the person? And I know this is more of the hippy-dippy discussion, but, where you look at, they're burning a tire fire right now.
What's going on? Like, I don't know. I have no idea.
Well,
I have no frame of reference at all.
Really it's a combination of rights. And to tell you the truth, I can't, going through all the information, I can't discern between one issue or another, but it's basically a combination of rights, unemployment, and government, and what rules and sanctions and stuff that are going on with
people are pissed. They're rising up.
They're not working, and it's
Gotcha.
and some reports I saw that the amount of people that are, and I believe I read this on Vice.com.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are out of work is over 50%, and the people that are out of work, if they take that and scope that study down, it is the 20 to 35-year-olds,
Right.
and it's like a
the young
+70%
people.
of them.
Right.
So you got young, active people that want to be part of society that aren't
can't.
getting to be,
Right.
and they're pissed. So
That's a big problem in a lot of places right now.
yeah, but yet Justin Bieber
Right.
is the big thing that our media wants to talk
Oh,
about.
God, I've devoted enough fucking headspace to Bieber.
Oh yeah, let's move on. So you got some interesting food.
Yeah, I had a couple of foodie things. I know you're a foodie guy, so
Yeah.
I had a couple of interesting things I want to run by you. One is just for pure fun. One just totally turned my stomach and put me on my ass. Like I was just like, okay, I got to talk to you about that. But my first one here is these Japanese scientists have done an exhaustive scientific study and discovered the perfect way to hold a hamburger so that your shit doesn't fall out, so that the ingredients don't fall out when you bite it. And they put, I forget, I did 3 months or something, and they made 3D models and like all these different. They put this science into. They put their scientists to work to find out the most efficient way to eat a hamburger. And since we're Americans, I think this will resonate with everybody. This is something we can all take with us.
Maybe we can post this on our Facebook page so people can look at that video, because oh my gosh, that's an amazing. Look at that scientist. He's built more like me than a ninja.
Right. So I wanted to show everybody the proper technique, the proper burger holding technique, so as to hold all of your accoutrements in the burger, assuming that you didn't like over ketchup your. You can't necessarily avoid always the little ketchup.
Did
drip
they
or
include the
something.
variables?
It sounded like
I'm
a pretty
sure
general
3 months. Though?
I don't think they ate every kind of burger, but I think this is just a good general burger holding technique. All right.
So did Wimpy and Popeye put this together?
Maybe if they went to Japan, maybe Wimpy was on the panel. I don't know. But anyway, so the technique is like this: 3 fingers on top of your burger, 2 fingers underneath your burger. These your pinkies are sort of to hold the back together. right? And your pointer fingers and your thumbs hold up front together, and then it doesn't get any farther than that first bite. So I don't know, like you're on your own after that. But
so you keep moving your hands so you get one hand. Is that the
like
fear?
I said, I don't know. You're on your own after your first bite. But that first bite, if you don't want to lose all your shit, this is the proper technique. 3 fingers on top, 2 underneath, insert, and bite.
Well, I'm so glad that the Japanese could find time to do that in the midst of the Fukushima.
Right. With all the, it's like they didn't have enough to do.
It's like, oh fuck, we're killing everything off on planet Earth, but we can eat a goddamn cheeseburger. I mean, absolutely ridiculous that's their concern, but at the same time,
not everybody can work on Fukushima, right? So they had three researchers. One was fluid mechanics. He was into expert in fluid mechanics. There was an engineer and a dentist, and the 3 got together, and between the 3 of them, they figured out the most efficient way to.
I think that's really cool, though.
Eat that burger.
I always say that pizzas and burgers can be perfect food. Now we think of it being fatty and nasty, and yeah, I'm overweight, so maybe there's an issue. But a piece of pizza can have vegetables and cheese and all. You get your dairy, your meat, your grain, veggie. Awesome. Burger can be that same way. We just happen to build burgers that aren't. And my favorite burger on the planet now it's in Vegas. I had it like 3 times when I was down there this summer. 7 days, I had 3 of the same burgers. And they call it the Billionaire's Burger, and it's at the Cosmo.
Cosmo, is that a casino?
It's a new hotel,
okay,
the Cosmopolitan, and it's set for the 40 to 25-year-old age group. Really cool, very shishi, very cool. I mean, sexy
very
women all over. Yeah, very.
Okay, right.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't put that together. So that place, they had this burger place called I believe it was called like the Heifer or something like that. Amazing adult milkshakes that are just like 32 ounces, but there might be 2 scoops of ice cream and all booze.
I was going to say, they don't put bourbon in it or nothing?
Oh yeah, no, they put a lot of bourbon in that. And we paid $15 for a milkshake. And so the burger has foie gras on it. And it's made
so explain this burger.
Okay,
break it down. I'm excited.
So
I love a good burger.
It's a brioche bun. So brioche for those. It's gorgeous, beautiful bun. They have a Kobe hamburger patty and seared foie gras on it. So engorged duck liver.
Right.
A cow that has spent its entire life
having its meat massaged and
being fed booze and food and. I really want to come back as a Kobe beef in India. They worship cows.
Yeah, right.
And then if I get the rub and tug all day long and all the beer and
nobody's going to eat it. Right.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to go. I'll sit there and hang out and have people pet me and rub me. Oh, wait, that's my dream now.
Yeah, right. So you got to be a cow.
But no, this burger it's fantastic. It's fatty. It's ridiculous. But for me as a chef, I love the fact that they made a burger and they put all these really high-end items on it and did it well. They pulled it off.
It wasn't just a gimmicky.
No,
it was slap some caviar in there and sell it to you for $80 or whatever.
No, it was beautiful. And I think it was a $40 burger.
Still,
35 or something.
Sometimes you got to splurge. You got to. I mean, come on, the story is worth it for the fucking story.
Oh yeah, well, definitely. And then I see this burger.
But did you use the proper technique?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I wasted that $1 billion burger. 24 hours, I took a $1 billion burger and turned it into a turd and didn't even eat it right.
Well, you know what? Now we have a good excuse to go back to Vegas.
We got to go to Vegas.
And properly eat that motherfucking burger.
I have a Vegas nickname.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, you do. Yes, you do.
And so...
Mr. Jam.
Well, you know what? It would be really fucking awesome if when we go to Vegas, we ship this down and we find a place to do do a
Yeah,
podcast. In
definitely be
Vegas.
fun. It's funny. I was actually talking to my tequila swilling buddies last night, and we all I got the Vegas. It's weird. I've got this Vegas vibe right now. Like I kind of want to go. I'm not really into it usually, but
I'm not a gambler.
I'm not either. Not at all.
Well, not a gambler with money.
Right.
But I love to go to the shows.
Me too. And the food, the
And
shows,
the
and the food.
food.
Yeah, and I like to dance. I like that. I
Oh,
like being able to
the
go to
clubs and
I like to shake my ass. I do. I'm not even gonna hide it.
it's such a cool place that you can go. And I think for the 6 days we're down there this last year, Lovey and I think we gambled $60 between the two of us and spent about $1,000 in food.
Yeah, right.
And that's just me being a food geek and wanting to know everything about it. But Vegas has a cool vibe. It's such a it's like Disneyland for
grown-ups.
For the
I wouldn't want to live there.
yeah. Well, and I had a friend live there.
Me
Good
too.
friend
A
of
couple
ours,
of friends,
and
actually.
They hated it.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
I
they don't go anywhere near the strip. Like if you live there, you don't go anywhere near the strip.
No, but I love going down there and being Mr. Jam for a while.
Right.
So I got a little interesting thing that I want to talk about after we get through the food thing that kind of plays into the Vegas part and what that means. So it just sparked my thing, but I want to stay on food. Food's awesome.
Okay, so we learned how to eat a burger properly, which I thought was just fascinating and good information to pass on to the
Very
viewers.
cool.
Yeah,
And I'm going to practice that.
oh yeah, totally. 3 on top, 2 on the bottom. The middle 3 on top.
You can grab buns and grab your
the bun.
buns.
We're gonna call it the bun grabber.
the bun
technique.
grabber.
Okay, so then my other story here this week is this just I couldn't believe this shit. Like there was this
Oh God, I just read the headline.
there's an elementary school in Utah, and they apparently a few parents fell behind on paying for their kids' lunches. And so rather than going through the parents and like dealing with the parents, they went in and like seized 40 school lunches from kids that were eating, like sitting down to eat, and their parents hadn't paid. So they humiliated these kids by going and dragging their food, like taking food that was already made and already made up, throwing it away, right, and not feeding these kids because their parents fell a little bit behind on their paying for the school lunches. And I know this is something that must hit close to home with you.
It literally gave me the goosebumps and the hair on my neck stand up because, as some people know, that one of my serious jobs is working on school food reform. It's what my dissertation's on, all about how we can get food to the kids. It's not the kids' fault if the parents don't have
Yeah, right.
money.
It's not something you should say. The kids should have nothing to do with that.
And in the fact that they humiliated these kids is a
bully.
crime.
And what a bully thing. I mean, really, like, I'm going to literally take food out
Hell
of the hands
yeah.
of children. Like,
Well, and here's the deal.
does it get any more inhumane than that? Like,
No, they might as well have slapped all their wrists with rulers or
Right,
whatever,
whatever.
the nuns did.
Yeah, right.
It fucking pisses me off because the thing is now I'm going to go into geek mode. What I do is because when we're looking at school food and we're looking at the nutritional services in the USDA, that food that comes in as a commodity is based on the need of the school district, of the location of the school, not even just the school district, but the demographics of each school in that district. They base their commodities and how they come in off that. That food belongs to the government. You cannot take that food. If you take that food, it's a felony because it's owned by the federal government. So, as I read that, I look at, okay, so if the administration came in and threw that food in the garbage, not only is it bullying, not only is it taking food out of a hungry mouth, most times, and studies are showing now, that the food that the kids get at school is their only meal that is a full nutritional spectrum, where you get a green vegetable, you get and it's very big, green, red, meat or meat alternative, your dairy. It's the only meal that some of these kids are getting that is what we say is a traditional family dinner.
Right.
it's because parents are working, people are trying to survive,
Right.
And to do that, it baffles me. It is just unbelievable, because what should happen is their OSPI, which is the Office of Superintendents, and I just blanked the rest because my eyes are all twisted over this, but.
It's infuriating, isn't it?
Oh my God! It's
Right. How would you? Wouldn't you not
kids,
just
I mean-
go ballistic if that was your kid? Like,
if that was my kid, and you know what, I've missed it where she brings home the little note and says Gracie owes for a couple lunches,
Right, right.
and I'm like, okay, great, I gotta pay, and then there's been a few times it's like, well, I gotta wait for the paycheck before I send some money in, and I get that. These kids, and my kid gets food all the time, and I feel very lucky and that I get to do that for my child, and that's part of our life is food. So to take kids that are just wanting a good meal, and maybe their only meal of the day, you humiliate them in front of their friends.
Yeah, right.
You take away what food they're given. And okay, the lunch teachers, the ladies that were referred to as lunch ladies for so long, I heard the word lunch teacher. It was from a group called, I won't name the group because I don't know if they'd want to be associated with us, but the lunch teacher is a great way of saying that lunchtime and food can be a teaching moment. That teaching moment.
Sure.
Yeah. So
about a lot of things.
And so instead of a lunch lady, they're a lunch teacher. They can teach kids about how to eat. And I go in these schools, I talk to these babies. I mean, they're these little kiddos, and they're so thankful to get food. And then to hear that they took away 40, I want to get in my car, drive the 35 hours to get there, and kick somebody's ass.
Well, and then threw it away. I mean, you know what I mean? What a humiliating and wasteful and it just inhumane. It's just fucking humane. And what kind of I mean, at a school, what sort of a lesson are you teaching not only those kids, but the kids that are watching you do that?
Oh my Lord.
You know, like that just put me on my ass. I read that. I was just like, man, this is gonna get Jerry's dander up.
My God. You know what? It is so. I mean, oftentimes we talk about, you know, the weird, the bizarre, the fringe style stories that we hear, which are easy to dismiss. They're easy to say, oh, it was this or it's that. You don't have to believe. I think it's great. The Fukushima thing, we talk about, you know, what the pictures and reports we've seen, even though the mainstream media is saying something else. That you can even dismiss that. In my brain, I'm still telling myself maybe it's not as bad as some are saying, and you know, somewhere in the middle. But with these are babies. I mean, these are kids that oh shit. So yeah, that pisses me off beyond anything. That,
I mean, that's not. So that's. I mean, obviously, that's not common practice. I mean, so, and I think the article, if I read correctly, they attempted to contact the parents about the debt on Monday, and then Tuesday, all the parents that didn't get back to them, they went and ganked their kids' food. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and so what's crazy about that, and what I'm sure the article doesn't state, is most schools, depending on the size, and that picture looks like it's a good size school. I mean, it looks like a wealthy school to me, if I've ever seen one.
Oh, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah, and so what they do is they have like a debit card a lot of times, and the little kids, what they do with the little, does it say what age those kids were in there?
It says elementary school.
Oh, that's even worse. Jesus. Those are the ones that usually are struggling the most and has the highest percentage of kids that need to be fed.
I'm sure it was through across all the grades in the elementary school, but you know.
So at the prime growing time, so they have a debit card that they go through, and the little kids, the elementary school, a lot of times their debit card's kept with one of the helpers or one of the lunch teachers will go out, and they sit at the computer. When the kids come through, it shows their picture, it shows what grade they're in, if there's an allergy, and how much money they have in their account. And they've done this because if you remember when we went to school, that we had tickets. We had little tickets.
Right, that we purchase daily. Or,
you purchase daily, or you buy a couple at a time.
Right.
And if you were reduced lunch, it was one color. If you were full pay, it was one color. And if you were free, it was another color. Well, what that caused with that color coding that schools used for...
Gives kids a reason to give other kids shit.
Yep. And And I mean, I specifically remember being a kid that some days we just if in the wintertime when the restaurant was closed, you know, there was times where I didn't take a lunch and you know, it was I didn't have the money in my pocket or any of those coupons, and I wasn't a free and reduced kid, though we could have qualified it, but there was a stigma. And I remember my parents talking about that stigma, and though they were struggling, that stigma rang true because they felt it even when they were in school, when school lunches were different, and they didn't want a label. My parents have always been very much against the label.
Yeah.
Hence the reason that, you know, I come on and say, you know, fuck, I can't associate with any party, and I can't commit to anything. You know, I'm a non-committal because I could be committed, though. But because
That's
of that.
entirely different.
So now we take that one step further, and we take it out on the kids that their parents couldn't afford. Where I would like to see the analysis of those 40 kids that were in debt, and if they were free and reduced, which if they threw them away, it would have been reduced lunches, and or full pay. And if those students' parents were at a situation where they did not go through the steps of the federal form to be a reimbursable meal with a free and reduced lunch, if they didn't go through the steps because of a stigma, or they didn't go through it because they weren't offered the information, they weren't told that it was available, or the availability was different levels. And because, you know, some people are pride, they're very proud, and they don't want that as a stigma, and they want to break away from that. But you do that, and I tell you what, I don't even know how far I would take that if I was a parent of the child that had her lunch, or I go her because of the kid.
Right.
But it baffles me.
Yeah, me too. I was just shocked when I read that. I was like, oh my
what
God.
What a great article. And I'm going to use that in my life outside. So I'm going to have you
I'll
send that
it
to
to
me.
you, no problem.
Because
I got that off of Gawker if anybody wants to look.
Gawker, yeah, that's and gosh, I got to get into Gawker better. I've done food Gawker, and which is like it's like food porn. I mean, it's all these beautiful pictures of food, but I just haven't gotten into Gawker, and that story right there is proof.
God, that's so fucked up. Give them the food, hey, let them get it, and then take it away.
Okay.
I mean, that's just like, oh, that's brutal.
And as a cook,
Brutal.
they took away time and energy that I spent in the kitchen.
Yeah, right? Would that not piss you off as the cook, too? I mean, right? You're just going to take it. Oh, God. On so many levels. That's wrong. It's just wrong.
And I didn't even go.
Many levels.
I didn't even go to that at first. I was thinking about the kids.
Yeah, right.
And then,
At first, right.
we. Oh, damn, man! I love that you hit me with that, because that pisses me off.
Infuriating, huh?
So, I got a little food topic that I want to bring up too. This is off of Blackboard, and my computer's so freaking slow right now. I don't know what the issue is. But
probably me.
No, it's
all the porn that's on there.
Yeah, I wish. It's all the stupid. That was really terrible to say. All the studies and all the crap that the videos and stuff I have loaded. But okay, this is something that when I went to culinary school, we were given a very limited. So I went to culinary school 17 years ago. It was when I graduated, and one of the things that we were told is we could be in a fine dining restaurant, we could be in a hotel, a resort, ski lodge. I mean, pretty much all the same thing, just the different elements within that. Now, with food being so sexy and so fun and being part of our daily life more than just substance, and I see that, and then I go to the gym and I see people that live on supplements and
energy bars,
yeah.
Whatever.
But for those of us that like to chew our food, and those of us that like to savor the moments, food's important, and not just on a physical survival point. But now, and I would tell my students this when I was teaching at the culinary school, that you can choose a position within the food arena in so many different levels. I'm proof that you can do every position within a restaurant business including being in front of the camera. I mean, I had a radio show about food. I mean, that's, and though we're doing it right now, but you talk about how pigeonholed that is and how trying to make the theater of the mind think of food.
Right.
Now, there are so many different sexy jobs within food. You go to culinary arts school, so you understand what food is. It's a 2-year degree. They now have Harvard's offering a food program that is amazing. You can do it online. There is all these opportunities, but one of the things is to be a photographer of food.
Uh-huh.
Now, it used to be every cute girl that didn't know what her major was going to be she's a photographer. And that always had some, kind of the Vicky Vale thing from Batman, and so I'm going geeky. But that, that part was always that thing you think about. And now you've got these people that are going out and they're just taking pictures of food and posting them. And I look at these food porn pictures all the time. And in food porn, what's funny about that is when we hear porn, immediately we think sex. When you say food porn, you think it's people having sex with food. It's not.
No,
folks.
right.
It's just beautiful
glossy
food,
pictures.
Glossy pictures. The pages may get sticky, but it's from, what's the butter on your fingers.
The mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not the mayonnaise. I didn't go there.
These are greasy. What? Why'd you have that in the bathroom? Did you wash your hands first? Do you imagine if you're reading pieces of information in your bathroom, if you had cookbooks, and what your guests would think coming over? You put a
cookbooks in your bathroom?
You're in your bathroom, and that's the reading material. And then
that wouldn't surprise me at your house.
Well,
at your house, that would seem appropriate somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, but I couldn't take that book back into the kitchen.
Oh, all right. I guess mixing the bathroom with your kitchen.
Yeah,
all right, I get where you're going with it. Okay.
I do agree. I mean,
and there's probably a good reason we don't keep our cookbooks in the bathroom.
I think in my bathroom right now I have an Australian tattoo magazine that was really, it had some really sexy pictures in it. My little brother gave it to me because he just knows I love art.
Are you a long bathroom guy? You spend a lot of time
No. But now that I'm getting older,
yeah,
and I've been this whole new, and it's not a New Year's resolution, just trying to get healthier and feel better. Was
I know it's totally off topic. I'm sorry. I just
no. It's a great segue. No, I used to be go in, get it over with, and get the hell out.
That's the way I am. I'm totally shit and get off the pot.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to hang around for a while. Now I found that I have a kid and a wife and a dog and all these outside stresses. It's quiet. I can be by myself. And now that we're in this remodel at the house and we're down to one bathroom, and for all you out there that have 2 or 3 kids and share a bathroom, I commend you for your amazingness to balance that.
Patience.
But I'm going to bathroom in there, and the kid just walks in, and Daddy, I got to take a shower, or are you almost done? And then the wife goes, she comes in, and she's it's in the center of our house, so you have to walk by the bathroom, so it's easy to go, hey, what'd you think of this? Right. And it's like, leave me alone. So now, yeah, my bathroom time might be a little longer. Public bathrooms, I mean, I've got my coat over the wall, and I'm, traversing down the course and trying to hover. I got the cowboy hat, toilet seat cover positioned just right 3 different ways.
Got the Tom Cruise rig system, so you can hover over the toilet.
That whole thing is like, if I have to shit in public, I'm paranoid. I don't touch salt and pepper shakers at a restaurant because I know that they don't get washed as much as they should, and so many people touch them. You put that, now I'm going to set my royal ass down on the throne and not know what hairy ass was there before. I mean, wow. I mean, and
when you put it like that,
it's kind of gross. Oh my God. So, I mean, and Josh knows how far I live out of the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I will try to, get the gopher back in the hole and drive the hour to get home. So, that's one of those things. But getting back to...
back to food porn.
Yeah, well, food porn...
Or photographing food.
Photographing porn fits right into it. It's just you got proof you created some art. Think about it that way. Because as a chef, your art becomes a turd in 24 hours. Hopefully, if your system's right. And when I realized that as a chef, I went back.
Poop your art.
Yeah, I was like all protected. It was like, oh, here's my beautiful dish. I put all this time and energy into it. And yeah, I know you paid, probably too much for it or not enough.
Funny.
But
most art isn't going to last, though. I mean, granted, we don't poop it out, but some little organisms out there eating the Mona Lisa and pooping it out all the time.
That is, you know what? If any of you out there, that was brilliant because that made me feel better about my art being turds.
Good.
I mean, I went back to drawing once I realized that my art was not going to last very long, and I mean by very long as in flush.
I think that's hilarious. What a fun! That's just a funny way to look at it. I never thought about it like that.
I don't know if there's other chefs out there that think like that, and maybe it's just my sick and twisted mind. But
you're gonna poop my art.
Yeah, and that's what I thought, and I believed it. It was like, when they scoop all, they don't taste everything individually. It's just like they get it and they stir
it all together,
and you're like, what? I put it separately for a reason. I touched the pieces that needed to go together.
Right.
But anyways, but in the world of food, so if this was a motivational speak to get somebody into culinary school, would be there are so many opportunities from obviously plumber or plumber employment. Oh, plumber employment. Yeah, because if you don't have a turd to clog the toilet, you don't need a plumber. So, anyways, but food pornographers, people that
stretch, man.
Oh, I know, I tried. But there's lots of great books out there, and if you go to Blackboard Eats, I don't know them, they don't know me, other than the fact that they're on my continual update, and they have some great stories if you're into food and you're into the different stuff. And what it also will do is it will give some fodder for everybody to ask questions on our Facebook page and on Twitter. That's something that we really want to talk about, because right now we're working towards getting guests and working on being able to talk on subjects that the listener out there wants to talk about, and we have a great planet and a great place where we can put that all together in one place, and we call that Facebook.
Yeah, my friend Heather, she's on there. She wants us to talk about Sasquatch. She likes getting shout-outs, too, so hi, Heather.
Oh. A Sasquatch. Cool. I got to do some more research on it. I know it's been a big hit in the unscripted world of TV, and so...
Going Squatch.
We
do live in Squatch country up here.
I know we do.
Squatch
we got to
country.
talk about it.
I've never seen one, but...
You know what? I never have either. But, being out in the woods, I mean, you lived in the middle of nowhere as a kid. We live in an area where there's cougars and bobcats.
Right.
And only twice in all the years out in the woods have I ever saw a bobcat. And I've only seen a cougar once from a long distance. And cougars are really their population has exploded up here because
I found one in town here.
Yeah,
a couple of years ago, it was in town, just wandering the streets.
Oh, and it's absolutely crazy. I did one of my papers that I did years back was I had to do an argument and had to take the reverse role of what the argument was, and I took bear and cougar hunting with dogs and trapping and then I argued for it and I argued against it, so it made me look at both sides, and the argument is definitely there. The part that I kept coming back to is when a predator does not have a predator, then that goes out of line and our ecosystem falls and falters, and you have an excess of cougars, and what they do is they're territorial, they push, and those of you that have house cats, they know how bitchy they are. Now you think of that as a 120-pound cat with 6-inch claws. That's just something that we gotta think about. How do we keep it in balance? How do we make going out in the woods still okay for somebody that's less than 5 feet tall? Because that was the problem is, cougars, they take easy prey, and children and small women, even small men. There's a lot of guys out there that aren't,
I'd be afraid of a cougar.
Oh, I'd shit my pants if
I'm
one was
fucking
coming
6'2", and they would scare the shit out of me.
It's absolutely they are amazing. And living in Alaska with the grizzly bears, and having them come through the brown bears, oh my God, it's like what you think of when you go, swimming in the ocean. You climb out of the current and you think, oh, there could be a shark in here. You're out breathing air, and there's a bear just happens to wander through.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
so it's a scary thing when you're not top of the food chain. It sure makes you think differently.
I came across I know we're so totally off topic here. We'll get back on it though. I was out hiking.
I'm interested.
I was out hiking one day when I was living in Florida, and I came across a Florida panther.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't realize it at the time, and I could be wrong, but it's my understanding that they're not big cats. They're small. They're not house cats. I mean, it was definitely
like
a
the size
panther.
of a lynx or something.
Yeah, right, exactly. More like a bobcat or a lynx or something like that. And I didn't realize that at the time. I was walking through this just hiking, and everything's sort of sandy in Florida, so I could see the footprints in the sand. And I was like, oh God, those look like cat footprints. I was like, that's a big fucking cat. So I was like, took like, I don't know, maybe 10 more steps, and sure shit, right there on the path, just looking at me, this little.
Was it black?
No, they look like a cougar. They look like a tiny little cougar. They're kind of that off brown kind of color, and like my first assumption, because it was so small, was that it was a baby, and I was like, okay, mom's around here somewhere. I'm getting the fuck out of Dodge. So that was just like, that's the last thing I want to fucking find is some cougar mother.
Oh jeez.
I
I like dating cougar mothers.
No.
I mean, wait.
Pick that low-hanging fruit, man. I set it right up for you.
I had to. I almost went on it. Yeah. Lovey she's accepting the fact that with her being a little older than me, and just a little bit, that she's officially moved in the realm of cougar due to her age compared to mine. Yeah, so it took her a long time to accept that without tears. But now it's kind of a running joke at the house. So, all right, let's
back to food porn. I'm sorry.
Oh, food porn, great. Let's move on from food porn.
Okay.
A couple of things that are going on right now. We talked a little bit about what's going on and the Super Bowl coming up, and that I feel we've got skin in the game because we're Washington boys,
right?
And we both lived on the west. Yeah, that too.
Right.
We both lived on the west side of the state, and what people around the country don't know is that. This state is so diverse with its terrain and what it's like. Where we live, we're kind of like an arid, more deserty climate, Scab Rock, and then it goes right into mountains.
Right.
On the west side, you got everything from rainforests to deserts, and so this state's very interesting when it comes to weather. And I think that puts us at a unique advantage when you look at things going on in the country, such as snow in Georgia. And
in Florida, or was it Florida, Texas?
Snow
in Texas or something.
There was
right?
snow on Myrtle Beach
in Florida.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
So
that's right. It was in Florida. That's right.
It's just and there's a big discussion, and with the conspiracy theorists out there, I always like to listen to each side. I kind of take it as a theory: is if you're walking down the street and there's a crazy guy sitting on the street, talking about fire and brimstone or whatever it is, I always want to know what he has to say. I want to hear a story. I might slow the walk and not make eye contact just so I don't have to give him something or have him touch me. God forbid, I would freak out. Other than the fact that I would be happy to help him. But a lot of our homeless are mentally.
Is that what you're talking about, or are you talking about somebody that's out there?
Well,
for the rant.
Well, that's exactly it. That's I see conspiracy theorists just like that. Are they out there and they're saying it because they truly know something, or are they out there saying something because it's just crazy in their brain? So you got to stop and listen.
It's hard to know. It's really hard to know.
And conspiracy theories are very much like that.
No.
I mean, it's we don't have definitive finite evidence of what's going on, or we're not giving all the information. And I seem to lean more towards the political craziness that goes out there. And as I always say, I don't choose a party because I don't agree with anybody.
I just think it's entertaining. I find conspiracy theories to just be highly entertaining.
Yeah, it's and it makes you think outside the box.
I like to get scared.
I do too.
And it's like, ooh, it's kind of spooky.
Yeah, and I think I can watch a horror movie. And
never. Horror movies have never.
It doesn't do it for me. But if I hear that God forbid we've got mutating whales off the coast of the Pacific, I'm scared shitless. Right. I mean, it's worse than a horror movie, and
it's real. You know, that's why the fake blood doesn't get me, but
it does. Me neither. It's what could possibly affect our livelihood in real life. I know that's art with the horror movies that they're making. That's an art and that's an entertainment, but the conspiracy theorists are very much that way. And one of the things that they're talking a lot about is this weather is been controlled by HAARP. Now, HAARP is an organization, and it's
an antenna array, isn't it?
Well, yeah, they have their big antennas. They have them different places throughout the country. And I can go on long and long about what HAARP is, and it's DARPA is part of HAARP, I believe.
I think you're right.
And HAARP is HAARP for anybody that wants to Google it.
It's an acronym. It stands for something. I forget.
Yeah, and there's these theories that it controls weather. Well, if we think
auroras, I've heard it's able to make aurora boreals, and that sort of thing.
And one of the things is they're saying that they are causing issues in that part of the country that aren't used to snow by using HAARP. And that's one of the things that the undertone that you hear from these people that are on the fringe. I don't know. I think it's an interesting concept. How better of a weapon would it be to control the environment? It's like having sea monkeys and you shake it. And
an ant farm. You ever seen UHF?
Yeah.
My favorite part. They really hate it when you do this. With the ant farm, that shit cracks me up.
So what does it mean? Why, if we would do that as people to poor ants, why wouldn't there be an entity that wanted to, put their thumb down on people to show, hey, you're vulnerable?
Well, it would certainly be a control mechanism. You know what I mean? It would certainly, if that power was available. And I've heard of people cloud seeding.
Yeah, and they do that with silver. There's a silver powder that they seed it with.
And I have seen some really interesting stuff. It snowed in Egypt this year. Did
I
you see that
saw
picture of the snow like on the Sphinx and shit? It's like the first snow in
100 years.
Yeah, some ungodly.
And I'm going to check on that 100 years to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, there are some really interesting things going on. Whether HAARP's involved or not, I just don't know. I'm not smart enough about it to know. It's rumored to be one of Tesla's.
Yes.
I don't know.
One of his theories or one of his inventions.
That came from him, right?
And there's a whole conspiracy theory on he was killed off, and they
broke up all his.
Well, he one of his reasons, and I've just recently read this, was that he had the ability to. He believed he had the technology and the ability to harness free energy from the universe. Right. And now, if we think about how much of our monetary system is controlled by energy. From Fukushima, the nuclear plant that is to supply the island of Japan, and that we have big conductors in Australia that shoot these transiting radio waves across to Tasmania. That right there gives me the idea that you could harness or put energy across to something else as a receiver, much like a dish to dish.
Beam it somehow.
And so if you can push it out, why couldn't you pull it back? So meaning, could you pull energy from a source such as the universe that has a magnetic pulse, and we know that. So could somebody really harness and pull that energy in and literally have unlimited power just off the technology is developed?
Well, yeah, my understanding of the way that he would somehow pull it out of the atmosphere. So his theory was that everything would just have an antenna, and the antenna would draw electricity out of the ether. I guess not the ether, but the atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that everywhere you went, you would have.
So it's much like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, but with energy.
But it's there already. You wouldn't have to beam it. You just have to access. You just have to find a way to harness it rather than, And I don't. Fuck this. I could see a lot of interest, being upset by, being able to just tune into. Free power.
Well, I mean, we live in an energy efficient house that was built. The people that I bought it from built it for Y2K.
Right.
So it was built to live off the grid, and so it's very energy efficient. and I have big freezers, big refrigeration because of all the stuff I do with food, and my power is so inexpensive.
Sketch. Oh, is this?
It's inexpensive, but okay, it's inexpensive compared to what I was paying back in Illinois. I lived in.
I guess I was just curious because I noticed you put on Facebook or your young lady put on Facebook, one of the two, that your power was out recently.
Yeah, we lost power a lot.
So yeah, I was going to say how, because when I lived out on the west side on my mountain, like the power would go out all the time.
Yep.
You know, I mean, we had a generator, so I was, got good with, using that.
Yep.
But I really wanted to switch to solar and wind or something that was a little bit more, that I had a little more control over, because, a lot of it where I was anyway was because it would rain so much that there would be landslides, and then the poles would come down.
Yep.
Or a tree would fall into it or something. I mean, like, all winter, really many, many times a year, the power would go out.
That's that out at the lake. We lose power in the summer when it's too hot, and everybody's got their air conditioners on. We don't have an air conditioner. Well, we don't have a central air. We got a little window one, so we can get away in those 100-degree days to something that's 80 degrees. But no, we lose power a lot, and you come home from the day, and once, twice a week we have flashing clocks, and I've got my generator that I bought. I chose to go with a solar generator. And so it basically, for anybody out there, it's got a little like briefcase, looks like a suitcase solar pack, and I've got extra cells to go with it as well to speed it up. And then I've got this. It's a box that it has like two or four car battery styles in there, and then it's got the converter that takes the solar energy and converts it to power, and that's my generator. And I believe I think it's like 3,500 watts, so it doesn't do a lot, but it will do enough I can cook with it.
Right.
I can watch TV. I can get heat on, but our house is all wood fired, so we heat our house almost entirely with wood, and I want to get that more energy efficient too. We've got a 25-year-old wood stove. Now technology has made that better. So That's something in the future, just because we live in the middle of nowhere. And we chose that. And I love the fact last time you were out, you said, damn, that's really a commitment to come out there. And I thought about that. I was driving home this week from work, and I was like, damn, this is really a commitment. And the days that I don't have to go anywhere and I get to wake up and work from the house, I really know why I'm out there. The days that I have to, trek an hour to 3 hours to a job are the days that I go, oh my God.
Well, especially like right now. I mean, the roads are horrible right now.
Oh,
there's so much snow and ice on the ground right now. It's just, leaving is, I live right down the street. Like, I live in the middle of the city, and I haven't left in like 3 days because I just don't want to deal with the fucking streets.
Oh, no, I actually went, and I drive a big old dinosaur juice drinking SUV, partly because I don't know, I like it, and the other thing is that I like something that I can take anywhere.
Yeah, right.
And of course,
we're sort of used to that too. You're sort of raised as being able to drive off the road and out into the wheat fields or whatever.
That was our common practice.
Right.
And so having that rig and doing that, I can get in. But I tell you what, it's a pain in the ass. It's really slow. There was a guy with 4-wheel drive today. I was trying to get through. I live on one side of a big wildlife refuge, so that refuge is, there's not a lot of traffic to the refuge this time of year, and so people that have to go out there. It's halfway, and so they they get scared. They get out there, they get stuck. There was a guy in the ditch with his minivan. It's rough. It's rugged, and the whole thing is that yes, it's a commitment to go out there, and it is really I can say that it's not only a commitment, it's also a financial burden. But we figured that into a part of our life that is important, that, we have a place that, we can run with a little bit of solar, and we can keep warm, and we can grow food.
Man, you have a great little place. You really do. It's in a. Yeah. It is out there. Like I said, it's a commitment.
It is. I agree. That was the best way of explaining it I've ever heard.
I totally get it. I lived on the side of the mountain for a long time. And I wasn't as far out as you are, but I had to go half an hour to get to anywhere.
Yeah.
And so, you just don't go to the store every day. You just, or, you bring in enough shit to last you a week, and you don't have to go anywhere,
Well, we're in the midst of just updating some of the stuff in our house. I mean, we had renters that just fucked the place up, and I've been bitching about it for 2 years now, but we're slowly getting through it, and it's forced me to look at the house differently and take out walls and add stuff, and just fix things that maybe I wouldn't because it wasn't too bad. But now we're at that stage where everything's torn to rat shit, and that thought of having to have the extra food, having to do that, is changing the way I look at my house. I'm going, instead of having just all electric appliances, I am going to put in propane.
I got to tell you, the gas has saved our ass. We had gas out where we were, and more than one time. Like I said, the power used to go out all the time, but it was really nice because we could cook.
Right,
and you know what I mean. I always had fire,
and
warmth, because we had a propane fireplace too. Which was
you can light it and go, and you've got,
always had food and warmth, no matter what.
And those, when you're talking about survival, and if somebody went to the Luck Junkie website, they would see that it was developed and is still kind of lingering in surviving elements and going on this kind of outdoor adventurous stuff, but. One of the first things they say if you get lost in the woods is you need to find shelter. Shelter's number 1. Water's number 2. Food is number 3. Think about it, if you got shelter and you're warm and you got food, and if you've got warmth, you can, if it's snowy, you can make water.
We had a well too, so
we're on a well too. It's amazing. And to not depend on right now, I do depend on the electric company,
but it would be really nice not to have to. It would be really nice to become as self-sufficient as possible.
Yeah.
Like that resonates with me in a big way.
Absolutely.
I like.
Well, I think for years, and I'm a victim of this myself due to my own self, is that the convenience of being able to just go grab something at the grocery store. I shopped like every day when I lived back east. At least 3-4 days a week, I'd go to the grocery store. Why would I have extra stuff? For my food in case we lost power, or they have ice storms and stuff. And this year, their last 2 years have been just hammered back there. I had MREs, and I had some dry food that just was in the garage, and it was just there. It was a $50 in case I got 3 days that I have to feed my wife and kid and can't get out of the house. Now, I mean, I go buy a case of tomato sauce if it's not already in the freezer from what we've made or canned from the garden. And I have that if I want to make spaghetti, and I can't run to the store because it's just too damn far away.
Yeah, right.
So
I'd like to make dinner. I'll be back in 3 hours.
and that is exactly it.
Right.
So, my kid gets, Saturdays are dedicated to my kids' extracurricular activities, because that in itself is an entire day. My wife takes the kid. They leave the house at about 8 o'clock. They don't get home for 2 or 3, and it's to shop, to do any little errand runs, which is they always try to get home quick, and to take her to her activities. So, it's by all means, it's a major fucking commitment. But I also hope that
worth it. I think. You know what I mean? It's like they all both. I can see the benefit of both. Having lived in both situations, I can see the benefit of both. I like being in the middle of town. I like being able to just run down to the fucking sandwich shop and grab a sandwich when I want it. But at the same time,
you know, I can see all my neighbors and all my neighbors can see me. And I
Yeah,
just, you know, and not that
yeah.
I'm doing anything crazy, but I just sometimes like to hang around with my dick out or something. I just don't want to be like scrutinized. You know?
yeah, and it's like if you show up at my house and I didn't know you were coming, you're going to probably see me in my boxes.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's just the way it is. So, I want to hit on the Super Bowl stuff a little bit because I think it's really poignant for our time,
Yeah.
and we touched on it.
That's cool. Because I mean, we're over an hour. We can wrap up anytime. So let's just, you want to just.
Yeah, let's keep going. We got a great thing going
Okay.
here. And now with the Super Bowl, there's all this stuff. Now we have extra surveillance on that, and that plays into the NSA. I don't want to say conspiracy because it is a conspiracy, but it's that of our government, and
It's a reality, though.
It's a reality. I'm not blaming an administration. We can go right back to 9/11 and say that we as a people and the president at that time, and I'm not going to give them props by saying their names. Fuck them. They created this stage down of a surveillance state and of less rights as a people. And we accepted it because we were scared that we were going to have our buildings blown up again.
Right.
So, you know, why, we can't blame just the current administration and just the NSA because we were part of that. But I don't think people understood that they were giving up so much.
Well, and I think that a lot of that shit was, done without anybody knowing.
Sure, it was kind of like, hey, we're going to do this here, and then over here,
We're going to
they
start
got
this
something
little
else going
secret
on.
group that just sees over everybody. And, I don't know.
It's bullshit. At what point? Do they really want to hear my dick and fart jokes? I mean, that's what it comes down to?
Which is the weird thing. Yeah, oddly enough, yeah, they do. That's what they want to hear. They want to hear everybody's fucking most intimate, bizarre, whatever.
And you know what? What is this doing to our kids? That's what is the generation of children that are, what are they getting exposed to, and what are they hearing? That's an interesting way to look at it. Yes, we are of the age that we can say fuck it, but because it hasn't always been in our life. My kid has always lived in a world after 9/11.
Yeah, right. That's a good. Well, and I know what you're getting at here. Like I have this article, that,
and it made me it literally made me sick to my stomach.
Well, it freaked me out a little too. At first, I didn't. Let me preface this by saying that this is on this website called unexplainedmysteries.com. It's a lot of hoopla, and so I don't know that this has any basis in reality. Although you said that you've seen this cartoon before.
My kid watched it when
I
she
have
was
not.
younger.
But it's this Disney cartoon, and there was this.
I even knew the character's name.
Right.
It took me a second to think of it. I don't know. Maybe we can post that out, or maybe I can tweet that out.
I'll send you the article. I don't know how to do that stuff, but
Okay.
I'll send that to you and let you take care of that. But yeah, so it's this Disney cartoon, and it's called, what is it called?
Agent Oso.
Well, that's what the name of the bear is, but it's something. Oh crap! They were singing the song. They were singing their song, and I can't remember what it was. Anyway, it's this.
Shutterbug.
Shutterbug.
Ah,
That's what it is.
yeah, I had to think about
Shutterbug. Right. So the Shutterbug is this little ladybug. Actually, it's not just one. There's a whole army. Isn't really the right word, but there's a
secret agents.
a plethora of these little ladybugs.
I would say you have a plethora.
Piñatas. These little ladybugs, and this is like a Disney kids, small young children. I would say probably like
It's 4-year-old.
four
Yeah.
to 5, 6-year-old type kids, and it's this
Each
little
show has a message.
This little ladybug that flies around and has a little camera on its back, and when kids get in a problem, it pops its little camera out and it takes a picture. It says, "Oh, little Susie can't get her seatbelt buckled," and it sends the little signal up to the satellite, which beams it to happy little Oso the bear. The bear,
And he plops his watch
Right.
open and
is
is
watching little Susie try and get her belt buckled, and then they save
just-
the day. You know what I mean? So it's these drones that are
they're drones.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what the article is about. Is like trying to desensitize kids to having drones around them. Like we're like where we come from, the generation we come, like this. People our age are going to be highly fucking skeptical of this type of thing, right? But
Yep.
like the way I see
We
it-
hope they are.
well,
That's-
you and I. Well, right. But I was kind of having a conversation with this, a tequila fueled conversation about this last night, like about how, yeah, these things, they freak me out, but I also think that they're an inevitability.
Yep.
So
I
just
agree.
learning how to traverse it in the society is more like, I could freak out about it and get pissed and want to bury my head in the sand, but I don't want to do that. I want to live.
Well,
you know what I
and
mean? I want to have a life, but at the same time,
You can't control it. I mean, well, that sounded very defeatist. Yeah, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, I don't know. Controlling it, I just think that it's really interesting. It was really interesting to see this card. I didn't even believe it at first. I was like, there's no fucking way that they really put out like a little cartoon about drones watching over our kids as like this.
And you worked for this corporation.
I did work there for quite a while.
Quite a while. Longer
I
than
had a good
I've
time. I can't lie.
longer
I
than
had
I've
fun.
held a single job.
It was the longest time I've ever held a job.
But and in to tell you the truth, I am a complete fan of the organization, though it doesn't. I don't want to say surprise, because it did surprise me, but it makes sense. That's who would be promoting the agenda of desensitizing children. They're the
They have the mass appeal.
Yeah,
right?
they
I
have
mean,
the appeal.
they've got the appeal. They've got the attention, right? They've got the attention of all these little eyeballs.
Yep.
So I mean, it does make sense from a pure, just out. The reach is just
all encompassing.
yeah, right,
I mean, they're
So,
just the only thing above them would be religion.
right. So logically, you know what I mean. It's if you were going to be, want to promote. I don't know, anything really, but sugary, sweet, like I know they got a lot of shit for promoting sugary food, so they had to stop putting those commercials on between their cartoons and stuff. But again, like if the cartoons themselves are like, hey kids, get comfortable having drones flying around your head, like,
Well, and and that plays great. That itself is an amazing thought. Is that Amazon recently in the last month or so has talked about being able to, in certain metropolitan areas, use drones to deliver within 2 hours of your order. So I mean, I could say like I bought a pair of new boxing gloves. It took me 2 weeks to get, or it was like 10 days. By the time I ordered them, because I wouldn't pay for the extra money. It was 7 to 10 business days or something. Got a beautiful new pair of boxing gloves, and I was still using shitting ones until I got them, where I did buy them from Amazon. And if the drones were intact, I would have said, bring that to me in 2 hours. Well, of course, I don't live in a place that would be possible. But bring that to me in 2 hours. I would just have it drop off at your house. And I would be able to have my gloves and be able to do what I wanted to do. I am an instant gratification person. It's part of the reason I love food and cooking food, because I can give it to somebody and they go, "Oh my god!"
right, you sit there and watch the reaction.
You get the O face when it's so good, and it's the O face isn't because it's oh so good, and it's kind of like the bone roller coaster. But anyways, so that was way down the rabbit hole.
Right.
But
anyway.
That's the drone thing, and that we are accepting of that in a sense, or at least I am, as far as, I wanted my gloves.
Well, and, give me the 3-dimensional printers, right? Where I don't have to have drones flying around. Like, give me the 3D printing technology where I can just say, okay, Amazon, I want some boxing gloves. And they're just, what size and whatever. And you just fucking hit print and just.
That's, what? And
that's what I'm waiting for.
Oh, that'd be wicked. You just order it and it builds it right there.
The self-driving cars and the 3D printers, like that's what I'm most excited about.
Well, and we were promised that shit. The Jetsons promised that. Well, with the release, and going right into that, with the release of the new RoboCop movie, which I gotta admit, when I was a kid and watched RoboCop for the first time, and they had the all gender, changing room, and it's like you saw men and women all in the same, all the cops coming in and they're all changing in the same area. And I got to admit, I was really freaked out by that as a kid. Do you remember that
what?
part?
No, that didn't.
Okay. So RoboCop, see that this is what I remember from
I seem to remember like, thank you for your cooperation.
yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I don't remember. I don't remember the gender neutral changing room.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it was. And I remember thinking, and of course, there's it's good '80s boob and bush showing. I don't know if they show bush, but anyways, they've got this scene, and I thought, oh my God, how could I be in a future that's like that? And then I also remember them, those two hookers doing blow off the president. Those are the president of the company that made RoboCop. See what I remember?
Yeah, wow, yeah,
See,
you have a very different recollection of that movie than I do.
So as that movie is being a reboot, or it's not a reboot, it's actually a remake of that movie. It looks pretty fucking sexy. It looks fun. It looks like something sci-fi. It will probably give me nightmares, just like the original one did. But it plays into, do we want to be a cyborg? And this is actually out of Daily Mail UK. And for those of you that have listened to multiple shows, I often, due to a professor I had one time, go outside the country for my information to make decisions on what's going on in the country, if that makes sense. I like to see what other people are saying about us and see what we're saying about ourselves.
See outside the bubble.
Yeah. So I'm in a lot of the UK papers that I look into. Anyways, with that being said, their article is, would you want to become a cyborg? The technology that could give you supervision, let you pick up a car, and even plug yourself into a computer. This isn't too far off.
No, it's not.
We have virtual sex toys now that you can plug into the wall. And
wait, what?
Yeah, you can plug into your computer. So first off, you can get these sex toys for men and women that are USB, or they're chargeable some way. They work. A lot of them are working just like your phone,
right into your iPhone.
Yeah, and then you go on these websites, and you get a POV experience, a point of view experience, and they got to pay big money. And so God knows I've never been there, because I'm not going to pay money for that shit. I'm too cheap.
You got in-house.
Yeah, I have already franchised. And so, anyways, that is, and that could have been taken really bad, franchise. But
right.
Lovey
should let that one slide.
Yeah, she at least has a good sense of humor.
Right.
The thing is that with the sex toy things, I think about, we're gonna plug something electrical into the wall, and then put my body that has water, or it's not water, but liquid coming out into something that's plugged into an electrical socket. Are you kidding me? Just think about that. That's pretty.
Well, what is the toy? I mean, you're talking about this.
Okay.
I mean, are we talking about like
well, when you say it, like my mind immediately goes to like a body with no head, where you just like put your computer on it, like has a computer like a headrest for the computer, and you just like, is that your POV experience? Like,
you're looking at your computer. That's exactly. You're looking at the computer, and it's from somebody that's got. I don't know what they're using. I know what they're using, but I don't know if it's like on different sets I've been on. They've used the GoPro cams.
Oh, I know what a POV is.
Yeah. I'm explaining to the audience. I know you do, but and so you got that. You got that image of what
I'm trying to get the toy. I got the visual of it. I'm trying to figure out what the toy is. Like, what's
all right? So the one I saw was, I've seen 3 different ones, and it was in an article I read. One is it's
for the articles. I look at it for the articles.
I was looking at the pictures. It's like Dr. Seuss with silicone,
right?
And I won't even go into the rhyme, but. One was just literally, it was like cut off at the waist and at the upper thigh, silicone that was molded from some famous adult act.
Tron.
Yeah. and it actually, whatever your experience, it's a virtual sex. And I still jerk off the old fashioned way, but that part is like, you just sit there and you've got whatever the experience is, and you could go any flavor of the month or flavor of the day, or flavor of.
Well, I know how porn works. Again, I was just trying to figure out how
that was
the
one.
Toy was.
Another one just looks like it's like a. We're gonna say it, fleshlight. The fleshlight you plug right in. It's like that, but I think it's even Bluetooth. And I don't know if it's the fleshlight that has that one where your computer actually gives the movement so it feels like a body and it can be warm. And
it's like synced to the.
Yes.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Now my mind is blown.
And now
my interest is piqued.
Now you can get these dolls that are like the real, and you actually they have these canisters you put in them that have liquid, so you have lubrication that's like more natural. And they do real human hair wherever you want it. It is an absolutely crazy thought that, okay, RoboCop comes back out. We can now have virtual eyes, where we were just looking at before we started the show, that the Google Lens where you can get super vision. Isn't that like gives you better eye 20/20 and all that?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it does improve your vision. I was under the assumption it worked like the Google Glass, where it was just like it gives you a heads up display. Like
it
or
does.
You could just say Google eyeball. You just say eyeball.
Here's the article. It does both. We're both
Okay.
right. So it's Google revealed, and I'm going to quote this same article as the RoboCop. Google has revealed a radical smart contact lens for diabetics, monitoring their tears and warning them if their levels drop.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty incredible. And I have some dear friends that are diabetics, and they struggle. And they're pricking their finger and they're going through all this. How awesome would it be for them to just go, oh, no wonder I'm not feeling very good. My blood sugar's low.
Does it just give you a little thing across your eye? Does it say you need insulin now, or like,
Yep.
or like, just
Yeah.
like the Terminator or
Yep,
something?
it
like,
does.
Like,
and the other thing it does is you can stream videos through it at the same time.
yeah, that's nuts.
So you could be sitting there, and so now
With
I'm
their eyes
thinking,
closed, watching TV.
yeah. Oh, I sleep with one eye open. Anyways, and that's not that big of a joke. But we can also take it to the part. We've got these amazing men and women that are coming back from the shitty sands of the Middle East. We got deserts in America. We just choose not to fucking live in them. And we're taking young men and women and doing this. And that sounds very. I'm pro troops. My whole family were military, so I have this compassion for the people that put themselves in that harm's way, and they come back and they're missing limbs. And I literally, and I will admit, when I see those stories about the people that come back and they're missing their legs and they learn to walk again, I can't help but to tear up. I mean, it's such an amazing. I mean, I bitch about my shoes hurting, and literally. There's men and women that are coming back that don't have any of that. So when you think about the RoboCop and you think about the people that get their eyes yanked out, and you could put a new eyeball or a new lens in there and have that give them their life back and better their self, I'm all for it. But at what point do we not depend, or we do depend on technology to live?
Well, we already do. And,
Well, I mean,
and
just look at us right here.
Well, I mean, everything. We rely on technology to keep our food cold and to warm it. I mean, everything around us. And it's not fighting against the flow of technology. I think is just an exercise in futility. You know what I mean? Progress is going to move forward. Like, that's what progress does. It moves forward. And anybody that tries to hold it back could, sometimes people are able to hold things back for a while, but inevitably life wants to move forward, and these things are going to happen. I mean, if we can, I think it's sort of fascinating, these prosthetic limbs and things. But again, there's issues. I know that they ran into issues at the Olympics this last time with the people with the legs, with the prosthetic legs.
Yeah,
sprinting,
Yeah.
and they were saying, well, shit, when we get eventually to the point where people are going to be cutting their legs off in order to go faster.
Oh God! I
know what I
think
mean?
about it that way. Oh wow, that's twisted. But
yeah, your legs aren't going to be able to carry you fast enough. So if you want to compete, you're going to have to,
yeah.
I mean, I know that's far fetched and, as you know, just a weird thought. But at the same time, it could get to that point where, okay, you can't compete with just your regular, with what your God-given gifts. You've got to have those.
And hard work and all that. They up the ante. We see it with chemicals. So why wouldn't you do it with mechanics?
Yeah, exactly, with mechanical advantage.
So, and this goes right into what you're saying, is they have what they call the iLim. And the iLim is a prosthetic that is meant for like an elbow or a mid arm, and there's there's a medical term out there, and I looked it up, and I can't remember it, and I apologize for all you out there that are screaming at me. It's called this. But it's literally an arm and a hand controlled with an app on your iPhone.
Huh.
And so you can make it open a can, and one of the things that for the years is trying to get it to sync to their brain.
Your brain. That's going to be the holy grail, is when you can.
And they're figuring it out. I'd said earlier, they just I didn't say it earlier.
We talked earlier before the show.
And I was saying that it's amazing that there is this constant flow of this stuff coming forward, and with that, it is altering our perception of the world.
Oh, it's changing the world. It's altering the world. Literally, I mean,
it's right now it's driving the world. It's driving it. I don't even want to say driving it. It is the world. What would happen if the internet went down? Besides the fact that we wouldn't be able to do this show, but if it went down for a month, for some reason, internet went down for a month, how many people would be completely lost?
Most everybody. I would say the vast majority. I don't know what the fuck I would do. Like I said, I've had my power go out for a couple days, and it is fucking annoying.
Oh, like those creature comforts. It becomes a.
I spend a lot of time on my computer, especially out in the woods. Like when there's very little entertainment or.
Well, and out in the woods,
even as slow as the internet is.
Yeah,
I
was going to say, out in the woods, it's a commitment because you want to download something.
Oh fuck!
I don't know how many tranny pics. Oh wait, never mind. Oh my God, they were beautiful, and then what? But that is, they're actually saying, and Google's announcing that at some point in the not too distant future. So there was a conference, we mentioned it on one of our first shows about 2045. That is the year that Russian billionaire, they did a conference in Russia, and that's where they believe the year is when all the technology will come together and we'll become basically cyborgs.
Huh.
And we'll be able to download our consciousness. We'll be able to think like we think. We could be just us right now, but we're in a box probably this size, and that's us. So, your kids, your grandkids, your great-great-grandkids could go, oh, Grandpa's here, and you'd be like, oh, yeah, how you doing? Great. You just have no physical body. But I think that's the next step where you take Grandpa and you slide him into whatever body he wants. If we've already got sex toys that will make it feel pulsating and putting fake DNA structure all
pulsating over. Grandpa.
Yeah, and it's like if they can do that now in 2014, and you can buy it like I'm just gonna order myself this. It comes in a brown paper sack, and it says.
Oh, and that's the thing. At that point, there's going to be no tick 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 tick. It's still just be like,
oh yeah,
Amazon, send me
plug
some
that shit in. And it's like you'll be sitting there and you'll be like, oh, what's that? I gotta go use the bathroom. Right. And it's like, what did you do? Oh, I had my Google Eyes in, and and I had this thing. And you're not going to need an apparatus. It's going to make your brain think it's doing
just
it.
Stimulate that little orgasm sensor. Just tickle my orgasm sensor again.
Well, and, that's the brilliant. That's the okay. For all of you that grew up in the 90s, there were the Digital Underground.
Yeah.
And they had that song Sex Packets.
Yeah.
And that song was all about it sounded like an Alka-Seltzer.
Right.
You'd open it and you'd take it and you would be able to have this dreamlike state where you got sex. You think about it.
He was like a drug dealer. It was like people were coming to him for the sex packets.
Yes, right. Just try them. That's more of a lounge side. Right. But, now we're there. I mean, 15, 20 years later, we are at a point where this technology and this ability is available on some level.
Who knew Digital Underground knew what the fuck they were talking about?
Oh, Humpty Hump. All right, stop what you're doing because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. We didn't know that right there was exactly the whole thought of our world that we live in today. And I am absolutely amazed every day I get up. And since we've started the show and done the research and go out there and look at those stories, I feel enlightened. I've been scared shitless. The whole NSA Disney drone and
Yeah, it must scare you. I don't have kids, so I can't. It doesn't. So I can't. If I was a person with kids, I could see where I would be. I have a much different level of concern than I do now. To me, I just find it a little disturbing. But if I had kids, I might be like, ee.
Yeah. And the thing with what I found with having a kid is you think about things that you connect the dots where you never did before, or at least you should as a parent. I mean, it's as silly as something of a misunderstanding, or with me, my voice is naturally gruff, and I turn around and I say, "Hey, knock that off." Well, now that is seen as not, telling the dog to knock it off. We've got a passionate, empathetic little creature that now feels this energy and is upset.
Yeah, you're a naturally loud guy. Like, your microphone is up. Mine is up like considerably more than yours.
No, my voice is just
Right.
one of those voices that's just loud. And those people always irritate the shit out of me. I guess it's because I am one. But
Because you can't hear yourself over them.
and go sit in the corner, LJ. But even with the voice, if I was able to go back, and I've said it to Josh often, I go, as much education, as much time as I spent working on my vocabulary, working on my ability to deliver information to another human, to another creature, I still have that stoner voice. At the end of the day, it's still that voice. It's like, easy Spicoli wannabe.
Right.
And it's like, well, fuck. It's really hard to come across. But I guess if you came across as a stick up the ass, conceited prick, nobody would listen to you. But coming across as that voice that's more that stoner style voice that's loud and obnoxious, then that's a whole nother element. Do people really listen to that person? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see how many people are listening after
Today.
today.
And you know what? I want to continue the conversation about technology and how it changes our world and the crazy shit. We've shit. I just looked at the meter and we're at an hour and a half.
Well, and I know you got a class to go to as well.
You know what? This is more important. I'm glad I'm not even going to go do that. I probably shouldn't do it anyways. The class so it doesn't sound all. We promise to be honest. So what happened is I've been training, trying to get TV pretty, not just for all you folks, but
that's your motivation.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had to choose something, so I chose Krav Maga, this Israeli hand-to-hand combat fighting. That's just kind of it's kind of taken off. It's only been since like the 80s that this has even been anything. And now in America, this has taken off. And of course, I'm in there with a whole bunch of 20-year-olds and, early 20s that can out-punch me, out everything. And during one of the exercises, I screwed up and I blew out the gum in my mouth. My jawbone cut my gums. And I had to have surgery. And it was really stupid. And so I shouldn't be in there doing it. But so today was one of those, if I can get there, great. I want to use those new gloves. It took me, 7 to 10 business days to get.
Yeah, right. The drone just dropped off your new gloves.
Yeah. But this is much more. Well, let's face it. I would much rather be sitting here, waxing intellectually about shit that I know very little about, other than what I can read and find, and then going and sweating my ass off and having 20-year-olds kick my ass.
There's something to be said for that too, though. But
Yeah,
we should
it's
probably
very
wrap this
humbling.
up because I got to go to the bathroom, and I don't know, we're an hour and a half. So.
That's absolutely wicked. I appreciate the conversation. I absolutely,
Always.
I'm so stimulated. My brain just won't quit working after we have these conversations. And for everybody out there, we spend time before we come on air talking about certain things, make sure we're on the same page. And that time always gets me so amped up for
We
this
talked
stuff.
about some really interesting stuff today beforehand. I mean,
Yep.
we could have done a show about the stuff I was sitting there thinking that the whole time. I was like, fuck, we should be recording right now.
Yeah, it totally. But you know what? fantastic stories, very technology and food driven. Two things that interest me. So I'd like to say thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Down the Rabbit Hole. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter. We are also looking at putting this in different places other than just on YouTube. So one of those things is SoundCloud.
I did some looking into that.
Did you?
We'll talk about that off the air.
We want to, and if you have any ideas for those of you out there, have any ideas how we can get this a more available method, let us know. Thanks again. I'm LJ.
Thanks. I'm Josh. Laters.